Executive Director of Castle Media Private Limited, a technology, media and entertainment consulting to delivery firm, which he co-founded in 2010. Mr. Fernandes led the consulting practice, focusing on pay television platforms across SAARC and the Middle East and across Middle East and Africa. Prior to Castle Media, he had managed high-profile assignments globally, from leading to a blue-chip media organizations, including 21st Century Fox, then News Corporation, and Tata Sky. He has also spent a decade at Star Media, managing key technology and operations portfolio. His academic background is he is a postgraduate in mass communication and media, and he is a thorough leader. So, Mr. Fernandes, my first question to you is, the COVID crisis, we have seen many shades, and each industry has got its own impact, including media and entertainment. So we know, as I just said, that some verticals of media are shut down, some verticals are gaining. So now, if you have to take it from here, and the mantra is probably realigning ourselves, refocusing, reimagining, re-innovating. So I think there are a few things which probably requires all these thought processes. One is the content innovation in content pipeline, then delivery models, and ROI, recovery. I mean, how do we, what kind of a recovery is on the investments? So what do you think, what best strategy would work for revival of the industry, and what transition would you see going forward?
Right. Sharmila, first of all, thank you for having me. And more importantly, I'm so glad that I was able to connect back again with Ashish after over 25 or 27 years, actually. Right? It was wonderful and great meeting you, Raj, as well.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, I think I hope everyone's keeping safe. We had a cyclone to add. We've had COVID-19. We've had the locusts. We've had an earthquake in Delhi. We've had the cyclones. So fingers crossed, because everything that we haven't seen for 100 years is happening. While against that backdrop, every time a crisis happens, I think as Indians, we're very resilient in how we look to turning the future around. Let me give you one very simple example, right? I go back about 3 years when demonetization happened, right? And when demonetization happened, everyone said, oh gosh, what's going to happen? Rupee bills going out, all that kind of stuff. And very interestingly, what grew was the personal payment industry, right? PhonePe, Paytm. You never heard of those things as big as they were at that time. Of course, you hadn't heard of them. And they came in now, and today it's a way of life. Today, when you go and you make payments, you tend to use, all kinds of payment mechanisms like Google Pay, UPI, Beam. They're fantastic digital payments. So I think from a perspective of the media industry, I think we required a turning point, or we required a pivot to take us from the old into the new. We were still shooting films with a particular type of crew. We were still shooting them at specific locations. Raj and Ashish, of course, would be much more experienced in this area than I would. But the way I see it is that there is going to be a new normal. And that new normal is that content will continue. In fact, in my opinion, I believe content will go much faster than what it was going earlier, because there will be new media to consume it.
Cyclone गेलं पनवेलला गेलं पनवेलला पोहोचलं नाही जास्त
Okay, I think there was.
We have to request some of them to switch, mute their mics.
Yeah, those who have to have a conversation about Panvel, it's safe now, but muting would help. Thank you. So what I was getting at is, I think the entire philosophy of the new normal has changed, or is coming into force. And I'll give you specific examples. The entire media and entertainment industry has always been a very close-knit industry, has always been a contact-based industry, right? Whether it is consumption in a cinema, where you have people obviously crowding up and being there, whether it is locations when you film content and you're there, shooting crews, producers, whether you're in a broadcast house like a Star, Sony, Z, right, in terms of working together. All of it, production houses is a very close-knit community, and there's a lot of contact that was required. I think what's going to come into play is contactless business, right? And contactless business is not a bad thing, but it will require a lot of rethinking. All of us will need to go back to the drawing board and come up with new ideas. Can I do a serial in multiple locations using camera crews which are not necessarily linked to each other? Can I do it if I'm doing a production of a serial, can I shoot some pieces, at people's homes? Can I piece them together? Can I stitch them together? Is technology taking me to the next wave? So what happens is at the back end, everyone starts to think differently. It's not just the front end that changes. At the back end, as a technologist, people are going to say, okay, listen, now there's this really big issue with coronavirus, and how do we get back to the shooting floor? 2.5 months, everyone's been off the shooting floor. How do we get back to the shooting floor? Can I develop technology? The healthcare firms will step in. The healthcare firms will say, can I develop solutions for the media industry to be able to work together, but keeping them safe at the same time? So suddenly you're building this entire ecosystem. Pay television platforms, digital platforms will say, is there a new opportunity to push content? And yes, so earlier, broadcasters or pay TV platforms like DTH or cable or anyone else would say, listen, I'm only going to run what the broadcasters are giving me in terms of content. That is going to change. Now pay TV platforms are going to say, can I become a mini theater? Imagine if movies, instead of only being released in a cinema, are now available to you on your home digital cable or your DTH at home on OTT, so you have access to first day, first show on your devices, which you can watch directly at home. So cinemas, which are constrained and may have to look at how do they maintain social distance, would look to provide the bigger, greater experience where probably pricing would go up to offset the loss of footfalls of seats. But at the same time, content producers would look at new ways of bringing content to consumers. And I think that by far is the most important thing. All of us need to sit back, everyone who's in this industry, and mind you, not just the media and entertainment industry, the related industries. Transportation has to say, how do I carry equipment to a production shoot and ensure that that equipment is safe enough to touch, right? Medical companies will talk about how can they create masks for film crew and for artists and for actors that can be disposed, that can be used during a session and can keep people safe. So I think everyone's going to have to rethink their way of doing business, and there's nothing wrong in it. We've all gone through a bad time, but adversity always is the mother of invention. So I think when you step back and you look at it and say, listen, we've been through a bad time. No doubt we've all taken a knock on the head in terms of revenues, and that's quite clear and plain to see. But that doesn't mean that the future is going to be bleak. I think the future is going to throw up a lot of opportunities for OTT, for digital, for cable, for DTH, and the beauty is all of them, I know for sure, and I say this with full confidence, will continue to grow. So that is where I wanted to end up, because I'd love to hear from Ashish and Raj in terms of the content piece itself. So I hope I was able to answer that and put perspective to that, Sharmila. Sharmila, I think you're on mute.
Sorry for that. So I thought definitely well put in. What I understood was, please mute yourself, all of you. So what I understood is pivoting to the next and beyond, because that's going to be the new normal. So everybody in the media and entertainment sector and their senior executives have now understood that the necessity of reinventing their businesses in a new normal, and everybody is aligning themselves within that time frame and that structure. And also this corona crisis has probably, evolved us to the next level, because this was something which was so uncertain, so unthought of, and suddenly it struck us. So now I think going forward, we all are going to get a little more cautious as to how to tread forward. So I think that was very well said, Mr. Fernandes. So now I'll go to Ashish. Ashish, I mean, I just got his profile. It speaks in a very few words. So Ashish is a national
No
award.
introduction, I'm sure. Sorry, I said Ashish needs no introduction, I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's why he's kept it very short, I suppose. So he's a national award-winning actor who has worked across 11 languages and in more than 200 films, 200 plus films. Apart from being an actor, he's a prolific speaker, which I complimented him the moment he came in on my screen. He's a motivational interventionist and a life igniter. He has impacted more than 200 organizations through his talks and workshops and is a co-founder of Ashish Vidyarthi and Associates. So Ashish, welcome. And more than anything else, you are my very, very old friend from school, college. And it's so good to, today talk to you on the other side, and I'm feeling great. Thank you for this opportunity, Ashish. So Ashish, my question to you is, so you invite people to take actions in their lives by your motivational speaking. So, filmmakers are generally called dream merchants. It's always very glamorous on the other side. So now with this present crisis, what do you think? What kind of dreams people would be ready to accept, and how real are they going to be?
So, बहुत shukriya Sharmila for having invited me over, and I'm like, it's like magic, as I said, meeting Winsley after 25 years, sheer magic. And he being the person that he is, he managed to keep that as a secret, and he popped up in my life suddenly. So this is what life is about. The things when they pop up. And when they pop up, if we like it, we say, wow. If we hate it, we call it COVID. All right. So life never ever said that it is scripted. Life isn't scripted. Life is anything but scripted. Yet we want it scripted. All right. So as you said that we as filmmakers, traditionally we were called dream merchants. Okay. We wove dreams for people. Why? We spoke of things which were not true, which were not real. Okay, therefore we carried that sobriquet for too long. And then we started making films which were closer to life. And then people said, no, you're not dream merchants. You're making documentary-ish films. All right. So if you look very closely at what has been happening till now, what has been happening now is some years back. Remember a few months back when COVID wasn't there? This scenario was called sci-fi. When they talked of deserted Manhattan, deserted Mumbai. Can you believe it? Railway tracks all stopped. They were talking about some contagion which had spread, and it required a lot of special effects. Suddenly, without any CG, the roads are silent. There is no one. All right. Consider for a moment, dear friend, and that is what it's what we want to really get. Each one of us are suddenly okay. Suddenly we are so hit by it for so long. We don't even want to protest because we are scared. All right. So consider for a moment, filmmaking is about creating a reality when people start believing in it. Nature has done this for us. Nature has put the scare of our lives suddenly up front. All of us knew that we will die, but we thought we will die someday. This is brought death right now, possible right now. With whatever that we have, we can die right now. We are suddenly at the forefront of the battle to stay alive. In this scenario, the new films will be made. Now, the interesting thing, and Winsley so beautifully pointed out, consider for a moment, this is different. All right, this is different as different could be. And it didn't ease in. This difference didn't come in. We saw it coming and then it slowly seeped in. No, it happened like a bang. I call it the Big Bang theory. Okay, Big Bang breaks all rules of evolution, which people will say that, I saw it come. We didn't see it coming. So what has suddenly happened is probably a whole lot of things that we were taking a long time to embrace, including digital way of being, reaching out to large number of people right here this way. It has now been thrust upon us. And as Winsley did speak about it, now suddenly there will be technologies who are now in service. They in fact will now be recognized. Technologies were there, but they were being pushed away. अरे यार, doesn't work. The experience तो सामने बैठ के होता है ना यार, ऐसे थोड़ा ना होता है यार, ऐसे सामने जब तक नहीं होगा फील नहीं आता. सडनली कहता है भाई बिना सामने मुझे थोड़ा बहुत एक्सपीरियंस दे दे. Technology now, what it's doing right now, we are using the Zoom technology. I don't know, have you pinned my video? Because if you pin my video, then you will see me full screen. Sharmila, please pin my video. All right. So why I'm saying this is that through this technology, I am reaching you closer than I could ever do if I was physically close to you. Because this, I would come too close. My face couldn't be so close. My gestures can't be so close. Consider for a moment what is happening is that in this new reality, because there is a convergence of people's want, you know what? Technology will now be more readily acceptable by the people. This has created a natural buy-in. Therefore, the characters, if you notice now, a whole lot of advertisement films, whole lot of feature films, whole lot of television products are being shot at home. People are taking selfies and they have all been stitched together. We have suddenly become okay. You know, Bharat, when he spoke of the ideal audience, they said that whenever you need a performance, you need a Sahriday audience, an audience which is ready to accept and be there in performance. You know what? We now have a collective buy-in. The people are now ready because they realize that in this period, they will have to rethink what they said would be the kind of entertainment that they would want, the kind of means that they would be ready to participate in entertainment with. For me, this is a paradigm shift. You know, this is a paradigm shift. This is not a gradual, this is transformational. And transformational, not just in terms of transformational, also in terms of my being able to speak in spite of Nehal Thakkar speaking. All right. So remember, it is the human being. The human being will continue to evolve in this time. But thankfully in this time, what is happening is that on both sides of the story, the people who are telling the story and the people who are receiving it, we are now both open to the changes. And a very critical thing that I really see happening is that people really being open to absolute new coming up. They're going to be wild ideas, dear friend. They're going to be wild ideas which you never ever imagined. Just think, just a few years back, we just wanted to throng to a cinema hall because how else can you watch a film? Over the last few years, we have started watching films on our cell phones. We start taking notes. I was taking notes as Vince Lee was speaking on my cell phone. Okay, interesting points that he was bringing forth. Suddenly, I get a text message from Raj. Hey, listen, Dada, your phone can be seen. Got it, my friend. This is communication. I don't need to be, all right, Houston, we got a problem. Houston has got a problem and somebody's just texting me saying that, hey, listen, something is shifting. For me, this is what is real-time world happening. For me, electric time, Sharmila. This, for me, is an electric time where people are going to be, just-in-time technology ready, just-in-time product ready, just-in-time story ready. Stories are going to move. I'm very, very clear. Just another warning, just to let us all know, this is going to change again. All right. People are again going to get back, even before the vaccination is going to come back. People are again going to come back to another normal. So for me, this is a classic case of social formations. In social formations, societies change. They just don't change in terms of who's ruling and who's being ruled. They also change in terms of taste. They also change in terms of what is it that the people want. So right from the way they are consuming the content to the kind of content they are consuming, that's going to change. So I'm really happy because this truly is the time of creativity in creating content, creativity in creating those kind of technology by which the content will be shared, and creativity in how people are consuming it.
Thank you, Ashish. I think that was, just a second, I'm not moved. So thank you, Ashish. I think that was really insightful. Technology, yes, it has got a very big hand to play. And then, as you said, that we adapt to the new normal consumerism. The consumers are the king, and if the consumers they are the king, they make a choice, and so the content is adapted and readapted according to their taste. and the broadcasters or the content makers will now align themselves to what is needed in the market. So I think that is very well put in, and yes, we are heading towards that kind of a scenario. And as you just said, that maybe there is something new which is a new normal again after a few years, or we again feel that there is some other alignment which we keep thinking about. And I mean, each business, they have their own way of looking at things. So with this, we will come to Mr. Raj Chakravarti. Mr. Raj Chakravarti is a professional director, cinematographer, and photographer in the Indian entertainment industry. He has close to 2 decades of being in the film industry, and has been part of many large Bollywood films, numerous advertising films, and have created lots of content across industries and verticals. He is a tech entrepreneur. So welcome, Raj. I think we would really like to hear your version of what you think. And my question to you is, entertainment industry always had a part which was always a gig economy, because there would be people who would just do project-wise things, and one after another, So it's not like a corporate sector where you are working continuously, and so it was a gig economy. Now with the present crisis, what do you think, how the re-emerging trends of gig economy will kind of will align itself to the media and entertainment industry?
Thank you, Sharmila, for having me on this lovely evening, and thank you, Ashish, and thank you, Vincy. Pleasure being part of such.
Just come a little closer, please. Sorry to interrupt.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah.
Okay. I said thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Sharmila, for having me. Ashish and Vincy are far more experienced in terms of a number of years and the way they have experienced the industry. So they've laid the map of the land, as I say. I'm going to look at things in a little more micro. So they've looked at things in a very macro way. I am looking at things in a micro because I come from a background where I've actually helped create content in a nuts and bolts manner. I'm the guy who's actually shaped things visually, etc. And I've seen things happen, from the ground up. Not that they haven't, but I have a point in this, which I have 2 things to say. One is that there's one that is a short-term change, and there's one is a long-term change. So when I say short-term, I personally feel that, hey, this is not going to last forever the way it is. There's a certain panic in the air. There are things that we're doing out of extinction. We're doing it emergency based, that we need to do this. So we need to do it right now. But what is happening behind, which is going to really, really change us, is that a long-term shift is happening. And when I say this, to particularly answer your question about the gig economy. So if you have been, anyone who's been part of the industry knows that we are all called freelancers, most of us. And that word is very synonymous with us. So we all come in together for a project, and that includes actors, technicians, anyone who will, who's contributing, from a writer, from a director. They get together, make a product, and then finally it's on screen. So we've always been part of a gig economy. But there has been a resistance, and this is something that comes from my own personal experience. So I should just add to this, is the last few years, apart from being a cinematographer, I've also chosen to move into the tech industry. When I say tech, as in pure tech, which is technology that changes lives, in terms of through an app and through other sources. So in fact, I'm at the moment building a community-based interface, and we call it the grid. I'm sorry, shameless plug here, but it's important to explain what is the need for this. The grid is basically is going to build a connected community of entertainment professionals who are going to be connected to not only each other, but also the demand and the supply side. Now, when I say this, it might occur to people, oh, things like this have happened before. But we are looking at things differently. But what overall needs to happen is that, see, there was always a resistance, and I felt it myself, in terms of for people from our industry to embrace the digital medium. Yes, of course, we embrace social media, right? But if you look at it in a very, as an industry format, we never had a digital presence. See, the restaurants are together under an umbrella called Zomato. Okay, whether you like it or not, today when you open a restaurant, you have to allocate a certain amount of money towards your advertising spend and towards being discovered on Zomato. And that brings me to a very important point, which is a pain point, which I kind of look at it this way, and I really want to solve it. And I think this crisis that we are facing right now is the one I'm not happy that has happened. But it's important at times sometimes for people to sit down and think as to, and you're forced to think through this crisis as to what is it that we can really do differently. So part of the problem that we've always faced as freelancers has been discovery. And anyone who's a freelancer will agree and kind of, will understand what I'm saying. So we've always said, hi, I forgot you. I lost track of you. So we always have this thing as top of mind, we call it. Okay.
Raj, I again have to interrupt you. I'm getting some messages that you need to be a little louder. Maybe the audio is...
Sorry, I will... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to speak a little louder. Is it nice and is it clear now?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I'm hoping others can as well. So I'm going to be a little loud, sorry. So the biggest problem that we all as freelancers face is, I call it discovery. Meaning, how do you know I need a job, and how do I know you need someone to do a job for you? So we've traditionally gone by the analog method that we've had people who have had, diaries where you have contacts and you call up the guys who are regularly working with. But hey, look at the amount of talent and talented individuals who are coming out into the industry every day, including people who are trained, like you could have actors, you have technicians. Now, how do you find them? Now, I know of people literally who spend hours on social media just to be on top of my, SMSing people, texting, WhatsApping, hey, listen, do you have any jobs? Do you have any work? Now, if you look at an average day, 30% of your day, maybe more, is spent in just trying to scavenge, I would say, look for work. That needs to get on a digital medium. So now we've always straddled it, saying, okay, so that is something that the grid is going to help. So that is the long-term fit. And not just the grid, a lot of other mediums are existing. And I think people should start taking that seriously. Now, here it comes to something that Winsley spoke about, which is, content will always be there, which is correct. Content is going to be created. There are going to be ways and means which will shape the creation process. Like when we say travel less, of course, I have a point of view. This might be a little radical when we say it, but as a film industry as such, and this is what we are talking about, the media and entertainment industry, we've over time grown very fat. We take more people and than we need. Often on a set, and this is something that we've seen on a regular basis, you see a Hollywood crew, and we've always had this contrast. I personally have worked with enough, foreign productions, been part of them, and have welcomed them to India, and we work. And they've always been amazed in a very, obviously being nice.
Sorry, Winsley, wanting to say something?
No, I couldn't hear you. It's
No,
okay.
I couldn't hear you, Raj. It went off for a bit. Sorry,
Yeah.
maybe it was just mine.
No, it went off for me also.
It went off, right?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Now clear, Raj.
Oh, sorry. So basically, the point is, I always feel that. Am I clear now? Sorry, am I?
You are.
So I always felt that we grew fatter and fatter, and it's like, when I mean fat, I mean we had too many people to do the same job. So we would come on set, and if you could do it with 50, we suddenly have 150. So I understand that there's employment needed to be given, but we often used to teach so many people on set. A lot of people on set would be just learning. And who's he finally getting money from? The producer first. That producer would then pass it on to the content, whoever's buying it from him. So there's this whole chain which goes up the line. And finally, your content, which could have been produced at X, now becomes 10X. Now, if you have digital walking into your lives, and as I say, with the paradigm shift, the world that we are living in now, we will look forward to becoming leaner, And when I mean lean, we should adopt techniques that we use in the startup world. We call it the agile model. We have the lean startup model. So we need to become leaner. And this is the first and the most important thing that we need to look at when we look at how going forward, how would the gig economy change. So we need to have a digital presence as a full-time presence, not just a social media presence, which is one that will engineer our lives, that will give us discovery, and that will then give us resources, and then that will lead us to, ultimately fulfill the needs that we have as gig economy workers.
Okay, yeah. So, Raj, if I have to understand from you, I heard that you said that you will consolidate and create a kind of grid which will probably bring in all freelancers and enable them to, get into the right spaces. And this is possible through a digital platform and, uh, digital explosion will happen in a more probably uh, structured way, if I have to understand it correctly. So the gig economy continues, but when you said that, probably 10x and X, but I also have a point here because I was talking to some senior actor a few days back, and I was told that the media and entertainment, particularly the film industry, they employ 15 lakhs people. And, their households are run through the monies which probably each film gets them. And if that shift, which is a paradigm shift, happens, so it is a kind of scenario where, a lot of people will be without a job. And maybe, there's something to think about. We just can't say that we probably now would be more leaner, and which is very, very true. A lot of Hollywood films and even Korean films, they are done this way, but uh, Bombay industry has been used to a certain pattern. But anyway, I think it is well understood. If audience have a question, they'll ask you. This is my submission, that probably what happens to all of them, because the 15 lakhs figure which I heard, and now I think most of them are unemployed because everything is stalled. And kind of producers association had just gone and met the CM a few days back, and they said now it will be allowed with 30% of whatever is 100% that you had. So it was 100 people earlier, it will be 30 only, and that too under supervision. So it's a lot of mental shift from something which was there to what we will head for now. So something to think about.
So can I have a point in this, can I, with your permission?
Yeah.
So,
but you have to be quick because we have a second round with the speakers.
I'll be very quick in this. It's not that this is only going to happen here. If you look around us, we are talking about AI stealing jobs everywhere, right? That's artificial intelligence. Now, it is not that something is being thrust upon the world and saying it's a conspiracy that with the technology guys coming in, walking in with robots, it's not that dystopian. It's the reality of life. See, it's a reversion to mean. If you are not efficient, technology will make you efficient. Now, I'm not saying they'll go out of work. They will find better and more work. Suddenly, this whole thing will become, instead of 100 doing one, you might have 10 doing 10 projects. Also, what is happening is the technology that we use to acquire this thing, the content that I call it, is progressing at a pace that we can't comprehend. Like smaller cameras are so much more efficient than large, big cameras, and they are all Netflix approved, by the way. Small little, so we need to relook at that. I'm not saying prune the fat, throw them out on the street. I didn't mean that, but I mean people have to be smarter, not just work harder. You have to work smarter. And that's across all industries, and we can't blame technology for that.
No, not at all. But it was just a kind of, thought.
No, I understand.
Thank you. You addressed it very well. So let's have a second round and to all the people who are present, you can have your question answered. We will open it for all of you to have your questions post the second round. So, Mr. Fernandes, this one comes for you. So, my second take on with you is that the re-innovation in television and digital space, including OTT platform in the new normal, generally as we have been talking, dream sellers selling dreams, but at the end of it, we are selling. So, pay TV, as we had discussed earlier when we were talking about this, pay TV will gain substantially, through this, because as you said that now it is a time when it is not only the broadcasters, it is like the distribution platform will take a call as to what content we are giving, and we will give original content. So how do you think pay TV will take advantage of this present crisis and emerge stronger than what it was before?
Right. So I think the first thing, very first thing, Sharna and everyone, I think the fact that we're today talking on Zoom with so many people is thanks to the unsung hero, which is actually your cable operator or your broadband operator, right? Today, while there's been COVID-19 pandemic, while there's been a lockdown, the fact remains that we're able to talk today, we're able to keep ahead of the news, we're able to keep abreast of what's happening globally, we're able to work from home, all thanks to the cable operator and the broadband service provider who's really taking risks and going out and getting the signal across to our homes. So I think that is, you know, they are the real true heroes of this industry for keeping the wheels of the industry turning. So now when you come to you know, how does this, you know, change in a way and all fit in together? How do pay TV platforms? See, India is not us on this call, frankly speaking, right? The significant part, if you look at cable television, if you look at, we have 180 million television households today, right? 90 million of those, right? 99 million, sorry, 99 million of those are outside of the cities, they're rural India. They're still struggling to get basic connectivity in place, which is cable television or direct to home or whatever connectivity. When we talk about the digital phenomenon, it's mainly where you have a strong or a good strong broadband connection. You've got a mobile phone with a decent internet connection, but you've got 100 million odd homes outside which still need a wired line to their home or still need a direct to home service. Now those are aspirational markets. So the best part about this whole discussion is that it's kind of a, you know, I used to use an analogy until I was told not to, but I'll still use it. It was, you know, when you buy a brand new car, right? And you use it for 3 years or whatever, right? And then when you sell it, chances are it'll get sold in a market which is probably a phase 2 market in the country. And then after another couple of years, 3 years, the price depreciates further. It'll probably go on. But it has an entire value chain all the way. Now that value chain is changing. You have that market which is saying, I'm highly aspirational. I want the same quality of content. I want the same content that is available to those in Mumbai and Delhi and Bangalore and Chennai and Kolkata. And I'm ready to pay the same price. Today, when you talk about content, there is no differentiation in pricing, right? Ticket pricing may be there, but that's a function of taxation. But otherwise, if you look at content, if I, for example, look at cable TV, if I look at pay TV, the cost of a package from Star, Sony, Z, or anyone is the same price in Mumbai as I would pay in the Andaman Islands, for instance, or in Kargil. It's the same cost of content. Now, when you have the same cost of content and people willing to pay for it, I think you need to respect that aspirational market and say, oh, great, there's a great market out there who's looking for content and who wants to pay for it. So when you start dicing, you know, or market segmenting, you realize that pay TV suddenly has a great opportunity, right, to be able to take the business forward on multiple levels. So you've got cable television, which is delivering content to the home. You've got broadband, which is a layer riding on top of it, which delivers high-speed internet to the homes, and therefore customers can reach for not just content, but can also access content on the internet. They can go to YouTube, then they've got OTT. You've got OTT riding on top of it. And then you've got digital play, which is watching content in your mobile phones. So I think the entire pay TV ecosystem is a very robust one. It has been through a lot of pain. It has been through a lot of variations in the past, but direct digital platform operators are very cognizant that it's now time to look at how to rethink their strategy going forward. And I'm telling you, the day is not very far off. And I can say this with confidence. The day is not far off. You know, Ashish made a point about just-in-time. That is going to be a reality. You will have just-in-time content. You will have a serial being made and literally aired in the next, 24 hours. And you'll have the next one getting ready as well. And not only that, you will also have just-in-time consumption. Content comes to you, you consume it, you move on. It's not like you would store it on a DVD, or you would watch it on a mobile later. You'd consume it and you'd move on, because that is the way content is moving. And there was the other thing you mentioned, and Raj correctly mentioned about the grid, that it's a very good thing to build that grid. And I think what Raj was getting at, see, there's a whole bunch of when I use the term actor, I'm not relating to film actors, I'm talking about the ecosystem. The ecosystem has multiple people, and people talk about becoming lean to improve efficiency and productivity. That doesn't mean that those who are not able to keep pace fall off the network completely. No, if they're able to upgrade their skills, there are new areas. Like, for example, until 3 or maybe 4 years ago, content production in India was limited to all the broadcasters that air their content in India, whether it is Sun TV, Sony, Zee, Star. No one was producing content necessarily no one was producing web series, right? If you went to a broadcaster and said, I want to do a web series for you, it probably, it would have probably thrown you out 3 or 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe. But today, Netflix, Amazon, Voot, Z5, Sony Live, you've got so many OTT platforms, so many digital platforms that require content to be consumed. So there's enough to go around. But like any good story, you can be only as good as you choose to be, right? If you're not able to keep pace, learn as you go. Sorry, if you're not able to keep pace with technology, it's like Raj made a point. Assuming there are 10 camera persons and 9 of them keep pace with using newer cameras, but the 10th doesn't. You can't effectively employ the 10th. So either he has to go and get reskilled or upskilled, or he'll probably get only those assignments that are kind of, at that level below. So I think by and large, you'll see this change in the pay TV platforms, of every pay television platform starting to become a cineplex on their own. I use the word cineplex very carefully, because all it may take you tomorrow is to sit at home and to have a single subscription, either from cable television or anyone else, that will give you a set-top box where you receive all the live television channels. He will give you broadband connectivity to your home. He will give you access to value-added services, which is movies. It could be first day, first show kind of movies. He will give you access to OTT. He will give you access to services going forward like telemedicine or e-education or entertainment. So I think there's a lot that's changing. And I think this COVID-19 pandemic has probably, it's come in and it's forced someone to press the accelerator much harder than they would have chosen to do so than before. That is my broad thought on that one, Sharmila.
Okay, so Mr. Fernandes, I have one related question, which is like, Hinduja's, I think the Indus Media and Communications, they are, you are one of the leading distributors in the country. And so how do you think you will strategize now to, like you said, there's a huge, there's a huge subscriber base, which is the rural India. So how do you think you will dealing to touch upon that market?
So I think again, like I was just mentioning, we've got market segmentation. So for example, in a market like Mumbai, you'd look at doing a bouquet of maybe about 20 or 30 exclusive channels, right? That could cater to multiple genres, that could cater in multiple languages. For your rural markets, you'd probably create skinny bundles. And why do I use the term skinny bundles? I use it very carefully. Skinny bundles is because, let's be clear, someone in the northeast of India doesn't necessarily want to watch Tamil content, or someone in the east of India doesn't necessarily want Marathi content. So you will start to think strategically and say, listen, how can I get the best of content, and start bundling it into bite-sized chunks, right? I create a Bengali pack, or I call it an Eastern pack for the East, which covers all the languages from the Seven Sisters and from West Bengal. I do a Southern pack. The reason why I would say a Southern pack and not just a Tamil or a Telugu pack is because there's a lot of overlap in language in terms of the diaspora. So you'd probably create a southern pack. So I think from our perspective of strategizing, we've looked to customize content that would suit different tastes. And we work a lot. We work not just with broadcasters, but we work with a lot of content aggregators, right? Who can bring fresh content to us, where we can work on some kind of revenue share arrangement, where we can take content down to masses that's differentiated content, not available to them necessarily through the media that they have access to. And we still talk about, we were talking earlier about watching content on OTT and watching content on mobiles. So the truth remains is that the moment you travel 200 kilometers out of a city, chances are the cost of broadband and the reliability will start to go down proportionately. It's in those places where your pay television platforms of cable and mainly cable would play the hero's role in delivering content to those masses. So I think from a strategic perspective, you got to kind of weigh the pros and cons. If you're in a high density city like Mumbai, you say, okay, fine, I know what Mumbaikars want, everything, right? We've got to bundle everything in and give it to them. But if the moment you're delivering to Assam, or the moment you're delivering to Arunachal Pradesh, or you're delivering to markets in the hinterland of India, right? The interiors of Chhattisgarh, or the interiors of Jharkhand, that's when you start to think, listen, how can I create content that I know my customers will be happy viewing? So I think that is what we argue and we debate virtually every day when we look at creating packages of content and products to the market. I hope that
Absolutely. I mean, that was very well explained. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
Ashish, I come back to you now. So, again, coming back to the storytelling part of it, and we spoke about a very traditional term, dream merchants, and you explained that very well, that how the whole concept has changed now. So do you think the new reality will alter characters vis-a-vis protagonists, in the films, and the whole pattern of storytelling will change? Because we heard so much from Mr. Fernandes also as to, how we synergize content and what is needed where. So do you think the whole pattern of storytelling and creating will alter, and our protagonists and actors will probably have to realign themselves to those what is created now?
So let me try and so one of the ways that I approach things is try and look at what is it that we are calling disruption. All right. So let's be really straight about this. Okay. So we are dealing right now with a crisis which finds mention even in the heading of this, called the COVID crisis. All right. So essentially what has happened in COVID is that our work has stopped. Isn't it true? All across, right? Now, I don't know about any one of you. I can't speak for any one of you, but I'll only speak for myself, self-employed actor, last 28 years. I've had many COVID crises in my life. Many a times my work has stopped, all right? Completely top. Hindi mein kehte hain top. So in those times, this guy, he didn't even have the privilege of having a gathering like this, lamenting the fact that it's because of a crisis, things have stopped. So each one of us, if we are very clear that we have seen crises where our work has stopped or dwindled, what we did then is what we need to do now, which is to reinvent. Very clearly, the word that we really have to get is that our life is going to be longer than this crisis. Our life is going to be longer than this limited career that we think is only that's going to define us. So therefore, the need, Sharmila, to ongoingly repurpose oneself. So, for example, I started off being a theater actor, then moved to being a Hindi film actor. Very quickly, I realized that I need further avenues, and I started, exploring myself in 10 other languages. And then over the last 6 years, also exploring myself, speaking to organizations, speaking to groups of people. What am I doing? I'm repurposing myself. Just to let you know, something which Raj spoke about, and we got to really understand. See, we are not. If we keep looking at ourselves that we are at the effect of what the big bad world did and then what big bad technology did, then we'll continuously be victims. Consider for a moment, even if we are talking of one film which is not using 50 but using 30, all right, got it. But that is one film which is going to be playing at a Cineplex. How about the 5 other projects which are now possible, as Winsley said, in so many more fora? Listen, we have to really understand, creativity is at the core of how human beings have traditionally solved problems. We went from two horses to 4 to 8, and then we moved to a car, because we couldn't have 100 horses pull us. All right, so for 100 horsepower we had somebody design something else, and so here also a key part is that not just the roles of the characters will change, the role of the actor themselves. An actor in the largest sense is not just the actor, but also each participant in the storytelling. That how does that person, it was mentioned about upskilling, but also rethinking how I will be used. So this is the same actor who says, hello, how are you, is also doing something else with our lives. And when we have, and I think one of the very interesting things which is happening very soon, and it is happening very rapidly, is that we now have tremendous respect for work. Earlier we used to very easily look down upon certain works. All right, we used to, we didn't have that kind of respect that we said that in the Western countries they have tremendous respect for work. But we have now discovered that people, all of us, can do many things. We don't need many things. So therefore, either we look at that those people may be unemployed or underemployed, or imagine that now there are more projects possible, and since there are no more projects, they are more viable. So the viability aspect will be hit, and something which Winsley has brought out, and I really want you to think again, it is the creativity of the business, that how does it remain relevant for people. So we'll have to not only speak their language, but also understand their language of what they want. And for me, typically, that is how businesses anywhere grows, when they start listening to the consumer rather than just offering what they have to do. So for me, as an actor per se, and as an actor, as a participant in this entire gamut of performance space, I really think that all of us have to repurpose our talent. We have to realize that our talent may be used in many different ways. And if we can just pull in what Raj is creating, that grid, consider for a moment that grid is not just for allocating people, it is also for that set of people to come together and be a mastermind to each other. Listen in. What else is possible? Aha, never thought that could be done. Hey, listen, rather than बड़ा बुरा टाइम चल रहा है, काम मिला क्या, अगला काम कब मिलेगा. So we have to start looking at, is networking only to get work, or could networking also be your ability to rethink, allow yourself to be, ignited in directions which you never thought was possible. Now, Sharmila, I'm very passionate about this subject, because for too long I've seen actors, be so sad for themselves, and people being sad for actors when they say, "अरे यार उसका time चला गया ना, अरे यार उसका time चला गया, लेकिन वो अभी भी जिंदा है, उसके घर वालों को अभी भी खाना है." So please remember, the actors themselves have to get that picture अभी बाकी है दोस्त. आप हो सकता है कैमरामैन हो, आप हो सकता है बिजनेसमैन हो, आप हो सकता है कोई और बिजनेस कर रहे हो. आपका अगर ये बिजनेस ठप हुआ है, ये बिजनेस काम नहीं कर रहा, doesn't mean आप नहीं कर सकते. It is just that this hasn't worked. And therefore, when we have a grid, when we have a gathering of people when they are ideating and saying, hey, listen, what else can we do? And that's when we ideate and we create value out of nothing. The final point that I really want to bring out in this is, this period is allowing people to embrace change because it has bit them. So no better time now to drive the change which technology or with radical thinking wanted to. So this is really the time for us to, really pull people. Already the apple cart has been upset, all right? The apple cart has been completely upset. So this is the moment to put in those ideas which you had parked and said that, "Arey yaar, sab kuch theek chal raha hai, phir kaise change karenge?" Good news, theek nahi chal raha hai. Let's do some disruption and bring in the ideas that we really had been postponing bringing in.
Thank you, Ashish. I think this was really
Very
good.
well said. Very well said.
Yeah, very well said.
Great.
So much of clarity. And yes,
Complete
yeah, I learned this from you, Ashish. All the time, reinventing and recreating things, which you keep telling me, I mean, is offline, but it's a great thing to learn. And I really wish you all the best. And I wish you and I pray that you keep shining all the time. So now with this, we come to Raj. So Raj, my next, I mean, the second round of discussion with you is on if mantra is the innovation, if that is the mantra, then technology becomes a key to unravel vast potentials and right methodologies becomes mutually complementing to each other. You know, so technology and methodology complementing each other and hand in hand. So what do you have to? I mean, they have to go together. So what do you have to say on that?
Thanks, Sharmila, again. I really, I mean, I go with what Ashish Dada has said very much. I'm going to take that forward from there. I'm going to answer your question in that format. So he's saying embrace change. Okay, I say embrace digital. Okay, and I'm going to be very micro about it. Like, you know, so I'm going to go deeper into it. Ashish Dada and Vince Lee, they are like large thinkers. I have a small little, and I'm going to only work on that. And it's going to help change things as well. So when he says change, I say embrace digital, and I say change now. Okay, so for a long time, so it's like almost like, you know, like we say, you have to run to stand still, like we are on a treadmill. It's a truth. It's truth, you know, it's reality in life. Now there are certain things that we've been conditioned and we change it over time. So let's look at a small example of a film school. When you go to film school, you actually play multiple roles. You're doing someday you're a sound guy, someday you're a cinematographer, someday you're doing art, someday, so you're learning multiple skills. But very soon when you leave film school, and that is a function of society, how it functions, it kind of pushes you, slots you into something and say you have to slot yourself to be this. And I've personally faced this, and I've always fought against this. I've seen that, hey, I can bring multiple things to the table, but why are you trying to slot me? It's for their own. So you're always facing, so this is something that a lot of salespeople face. You have a great product, you can't sell it. You know why? Because the other guy can't see it. So obviously you say I have to open up the opportunities to do that, etc. But here's the thing, we are all prisoners of our own mind. We lock ourselves in, and this is both ways. So this is methodology in a way, like, you know, the methods we undertake or we take in our day-to-day work. Now, how does technology come in? So so I'm also taking from what Vince Lee is saying, you know, is in just-in-time content. Now, just-in-time content is only possible, like you have this thing called UGC, which is user-generated content. Now that's big. I know you don't have creative control over it. You have a lot less. But hey, if that is to be done, it needs to spread across. So I'll give you an example of just-in-time content, which I was just taking a little ahead. Amazing thought from Vince Lee, sir, is the fact that why does everyone come to Bombay in terms of entertainment? Or everyone comes to Bombay because you have jobs in Bombay, apparently, right? Now that's how we grow fat. What if I wanted to stay in Bhopal and I wanted to have, I want to do 5 days of work? There is enough work there. But the problem again is that how do I create that environment where I can give the guy in Bhopal work originating from Bombay? It doesn't happen because there's no platform that's connecting you. Today, if you look at an example of an Amazon, there's a guy in Patiala selling you what you want and delivered in Bombay, right? So that's the power of technology. So I'm saying the technology has always been there. We've been very reluctant to change ourselves. We've been very slow. And I think this time is amazing because, as we say, 21 days is all it takes to change a habit. I would say make it 45 days. Hey, we've had the luxury of doing it 60 days. It's time, and this has actually turned people's heads around. People who would never go on a Zoom are doing that. I'm not saying this is the end of it, but use this to go ahead and create, like Ashish Dada said one thing very clearly. He said digital creates more opportunities. So I'm going to tie on that earlier thought that we said, that in a way that if we have 50 people and now if you have 30, what happens to the 20? Two things in this. One is those 20 get to create more opportunities. That's one. And secondly, from what Vince Lee said, if you are, and it's Darwinian, if it's law of survival, if you haven't upskilled yourself, if you don't know what needs to be known to deliver, hey, I'm sorry for you. Yeah, right. I mean, I can't just bring you on the team because I have to feed you. That's not the case. And how does digital help creating opportunities for those 20 people who are not going to be? This is very simple. So today I'm stuck in Bombay, right? I don't know what's happening in Kolkata as such until unless I'm on social with them, right? There's no medium as such that connects me to get discovery. So here's the point. If today I had an opportunity to do a job in Kolkata, I would fly to Kolkata. If I had tomorrow got an opportunity to do it in Chennai, I would do it. Now, actors traditionally have always had a some called an agent, you know. Now, I'm saying that now gets for everyone becomes a digital agent. And to just sign it off, it's a digital agent of change. So we've always had these things. It's just that now it's that real emergency, as you call it. Another little thing that I always feel is that every one of us can add value in lots of ways, you know. Like I know for a fact that you as me as a cinematographer, I can know about sound. By knowing about sound, I can help the sound guy actually get better sound, and he doesn't have to have another person just to, you know, make sure that thing is happening. So smaller, leaner groups can create much more, I would say, work much more efficiently. And that, trust me, doesn't have anything to do with the content or the quality of the content that's created.
So just a quick one, Raj, something which you brought forth, and I thought that probably makes sense. As much as we do believe in survival, and Mr. Darwin has spoken about it, here is something which, that's where I bring the human connect part of it. Consider for a moment, if you didn't know people before, things didn't happen. Okay, you had to know somebody. I had to call up Sharmila. Hey, Sharmila, can you help me with this? Winsley, can you help me with this? Hey, Shubho, can you please do this for me? Hey, Shalini, can you do this for me? If I know people, I'll kind of reach somewhere. If I don't, I cannot. Guess what happened now? It's become flat. You know, you don't say, Ajay, call me back later. They will not call you back, my friend. They will just reach out. So one of the beautiful things that's happened about technology for me, little far from not allowing the people who are the fittest to stay alive, it has given everyone an opportunity, because this person has an entire world to learn from, has an entire world to be supported by. Just to let you know, the biggest of my teachers, you know, when I got into this world of communication, I may have been an actor, and I discovered I'm also an actor, also a blogger, also a technology. The world is teaching me technology. A couple of people right here in the room, you know, Shubho is there, Raj is there, you are there, everybody, they are all teaching me technology. Barack Obama works on my speeches with me. So, I mean, there are amazing guys who are teaching me, who are not even aware they are my teachers. How? Because this flat world, this technology has created. So one of the things that we really have to get is that sensitivity of the human being, along with the digital revolution, is something which we can really own this. All right. So I do not want, I mean, that's again my personal dream. I have a dream. Yes, I have a dream. I have a dream that the digital world will not be one in which it is the machine taking over. It is more like the human being having a choice in what they can allow themselves to be touched by. So this is the granular difference I find between, and for me, that's the principle that I use even when people talk of West, and when people talk of the Eastern, all that. So for me, it is, how will it be if you can have the best of the West and the best of the East, carry the best of technology and the best of the ethos that we bring. And for me, that is the choice which is available when you can go actually embrace digital, as Raj says. Because digital, what it does is, it has flattened it. It is flattened. I can reach out. It is, there is nothing which is too far away for me. All right. And that is along with that. So therefore, definitely, Sharmila, we have to get in this, that what is our ethos? Do we want humanity to win? Yes. If that is true, then I am with you, dear friend, to discover that digital has given more amazing ways for us to, make that what we believe in victorious. Because, and if you want something to win without humanity, congratulations, you've come to the right place. We even have a supermarket for that. So this is really going to be, you will not be helpless. You will just make choices So don't say that I did it because I did not have a choice. You have choices. And what choices you make, Sartre will play out for us, my dear friend, that the modern man is condemned to be free, is condemned to use the internet any which way, to arm herself any which way. So really, this is the world in which, you know, we will be making our choices and not say, I could not do it because Uncle Ji did not allow me.
Ashish, this is so well spoken. You really touched the right chord by saying that sensitivity and humanism. I think that's goes hand in hand with the digital revolution or the digital explosion, whatever we choose to call. So with this, I think there are a lot of people who must be waiting. Bhanu, for one, I thought he wanted to raise a question. So we will go back to the audience for question answers, and then I'll come back with my conclusion with what I got from all three of you. You know, so I've just put in certain points which I'll then speak about. So we are opening the platform for question answers. Whoever has a question, please raise your hand, unmute yourself, and you have to, you know, be on the video to ask a question. So please, this is all yours. Bhanu Wazirani, yeah, I saw you sending a message. So do you have a question, Bhanu? Is there?
Hi, hello.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to ask a question.
No, no, no. It was just to say that the session is going very good. That's all.
Okay, so compliments
Thank
to all
you.
three esteemed speakers. Anybody else who has a question, please? No one? Full screen.
That's always good.
Yeah. No question. No question.
Always good.
No question is a good question. Fantastic. So fantastic, Sharmila. Please.
So Ashish, before we conclude, my conclusion from all of you for everybody is that the entire ecosystem has to, I mean, as it is undergoing disruption, the media and entertainment sector particularly should create customized experiences, develop agile business models, utilize tools and technologies to unlock innovation, align your portfolios to tap into growth areas, acquire new competencies, and improve business processes. I think this is what I got from all of you in your, in your talk. And there are multiple choices, Ashish, as you said, that, you know, it is what I choose and I like to choose. So the last, concluding this thing, all three of you, if you want to say something to everybody before you sign off, please, you're welcome. So we begin with Ashish, if you want to say something. You unmute.
I really enjoyed this interaction. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Sharmila. Really happy to meet Raj. Delighted to meet Winsley. And so Winsley and I go back a few years. We met by chance today after 25 years. Really excited. Very happy to meet Raj here at this kind of a fora. We are exploring some things together, Raj and I. So very happy to do that. And Sharmila, of course, has been my, batchmate from school right through college. And she's been somebody who has, helped me. And just to let you all know, there was a period which was not too long back when I didn't know the difference between MR, DR, and HR. That was also which Sharmila is looking away because she knows what I'm going to talk about. I didn't know what was PPT, and I called it something.
I think you can excuse yourself on that. I have forgiven you.
So just to let you know that, so there is hope for moron like me to kind of move ahead and learn. So I think that itself is something which gives me hope that this digital world, especially in these last 40 days, if you say so, Raj, I have learned to use technology as I never done before. I've been tremendously aided by an extraordinary set of friends of mine, but I could learn it. And how we use it's technology for me is a bit like money. Money isn't good or bad. Technology isn't good or bad. Friends aren't good or bad. What you do with it is what defines you. And I really think, therefore, just like, with technology, what is it that you really want to achieve in your life? What is it that you want to leave the world with? So therefore, the choices are so clear, and therefore there's nowhere to hide, dear friend. So I'm very happy to be here, Sharmila. Thanks again. And
Thank you,
thank you
Mr.
for teaching,
Fernandez.
thank you for teaching me what is a PPT. Appreciate that.
That we will talk offline.
No, Sharmila, thank you very much. Sorry, you
No,
asked.
that's please.
No, thank you very much. I think the opportunity was wonderful, and I thank everyone who's actually listened to us patiently. Quite clearly, as you know, as I'm feeling, I think it's been delighted. I've been delighted to meet Ashish again, and it's so funny. Every time Ashish was talking, my first thought was going back to those days in Plus Channel when we'd be standing outside Ajanta Hotel, right, and with the whole gang, Ashish Vidyarthi, like I mentioned, Ashutosh Rana, and all of us, and you know, those were days when, as Ashish pointed out, 100 rupees or 150 was gold, and I think the culture that it taught us and the learnings that we've taken those along with us in our lives, and I'm glad for that, and I'm very happy to have met Raj, of course. And I think, you know, just listening to Ashish and Raj, the great part is, I think for everyone that needs to understand, there is, you know, we often worry, and all I'd like to end up with saying is that for those who thought that the light at the end of the tunnel was the light of an oncoming train, it's not really the light of an oncoming train. Please be assured that things will turn around. It's how well we all stay together. We come out with ideas, solutions. Nothing is impossible. We've gone through even worse times perhaps in the past. Not every one of us may have experienced it at the same level, but it's always been a challenge. And I think the best part, we are resilient, and we will make things turn around. So thank you again, Sharmila, for having us all on this.
So, Mr. Fernandez, thank you so much. I think at least this gave me an opportunity to see you after months. After months, I mean,
Thank you.
I think this is Ashish Vidyarthi, so I must thank him. He's the one because of which you must have said a yes. But thank you. At least it's so good to see you after a long, long time. And I've been looking forward to speaking with you for a very long time.
Thank you
So
so much.
we'll take that separately. And thank you so much for being with us. Raj, what do you have to say? And thank you, Raj, beforehand.
Thank you so much. Thank you for hearing me out. You guys are such a patient audience. I mean, whoever's joined in, thank you. Vinsley, thank you. Such a pleasure and an honor to make your acquaintance. Ashish, as I call him, Dada, is leading the way in lots of ways. You know, he's someone I look up to. And thank you, Sharmila, for this opportunity. It's an amazing time we are in, and I only have one. Like, you know, it's my WhatsApp. It's a very silly thing, but it's my WhatsApp. You know, they have what's your status. So I say, what you want is on the other side of fear. You know, so there's this overriding fear that is those 4 letters that always stop us from doing whatever we want to do. Whether it's societal, whether it's fear of embracing change, whether it's fear of anything, that's what stops everybody. We are all immensely gifted. And it's only about how much we can overcome that fear, whether it's standing in front of a bear, whether it's standing in front of a mugger, whether it's doing the next 10 miles, it's all about fear. So I would say embrace it. It's a friend. And obviously digital is the other point, is that technology is here to stay. Make it work for you. You know, don't be fearful of technology. Use it. Like what Dada said, it's how you use it. You know, it's never going to be overriding you until you let it override you. So I would say, go ahead, explore. And one last point is dig deeper into YouTube. It's the new library. It's the modern encyclopedia.
We'll be doing that.
Just sift through, no, for everyone, just sift through YouTube. The diamonds in YouTube are deep in. It's really deep inside. You know, cut the algorithm, cheat the algorithm, beat the algorithm, and go deeper. There's a wealth of, it's the new Google, you know, I mean, I would say, though Google owns it. That's it. Thank you so much. Amazing time. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. And I must thank all my guests who have, joined in to listen to these conversations on behalf of International Women's Leaders Forum and Green Chilies. We would be continuing with the conversation series. This is the first time we went live on Facebook also. But this is 5th in series today. But we are, as Raj said, as Ashish said, Mr. Winsley Fernandez also told us that this technology, earlier we were only on a Zoom call, now we are live on Facebook and we are going to be live on YouTube, and we're trying to see what are the StreamYards that are available. But having said that, thank you everyone who is who's joined us and who are here with us. Thank you, and we'll see you again. And thank you very much, Mr. Vidyarthi, Raj, and Mr. Fernandez. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for who have joined us, and stay well, stay safe, and let's create something amazing in life.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Sharmila, Raj, Wesley, let's meet outside of this on a Zoom call right now.
Yes.
Oh God.
Thank you so much. We can't miss this. Appreciate it. I'm just sending an invite to Sharmila. Sharmila, you take care of the rest. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Logging out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Mamu Hashem.